Okay, in today's setup guide, I'm going to be showing you how to use and set up the current version of MAME, which of recording this video is 0.262. In this setup guide, I'm going to be showing you how to configure your controllers and map them out, obviously. I'm also going to be going through some video settings with you and other bits and pieces, such as adding a little bit of artwork, although I'm not going to go into depth with this. This video is designed as the very basics to get you up and running playing some really cool arcade games, so check this one out. Okay, before I start today's easy MAME setup guide, if you like what you see today, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content. Also helps out my channel a great deal, plus it gets you emulation videos as I release them, which is every day. So today I'm going to be showing you the very easiest way of running MAME games for your PC. The MAME set I'm going to be using with this is the latest version as I'm recording this video, which is 0.262, and I'm going to be using a merge ROM set for this. So what we need to do first is actually go over to the MAME website, and I'll leave the link in my description, and we need to download the latest MAME. So if we just click on here, so it's MAME 0262b_64bit.exe. We're going to just download this one, and that one shouldn't take too long to download. Okay, once you've downloaded MAME, you're going to end up with a little black and white, almost zebra looking exe file. What I'm going to do is on my desktop create a new folder, so new folder, and I'm going to just call this folder MAME. Next thing I'm going to do is open up this exe, double left click. Windows protected your PC. Now if you're running Windows 11, possibly Windows 10 as well, if you see this pop up, just go to more info, run anyway. What we're going to do next is extract the MAME emulator into that MAME folder that we just created. So I'm going to go to the three horizontal dots just there, go to the desktop, and I'm going to point it into that MAME folder I've just created. So just left click and highlight on MAME, okay, and extract. Okay, so a very quick process. We can now delete that exe that we just downloaded from the MAME website. So let's actually open up the MAME folder. Everything's now extracted into that folder. Okay, so if I just go into the ROMs folder, which is just here, if I just open that up, what I'm going to do is just drag in my latest MAME ROM set, which again, I'm using 0.262 recording this video. I'm going to just left click on the top zip file just here, and you don't need to extract any of these files. Just press Ctrl A, that's going to highlight everything, and then just left click and drag into that MAME ROMs folder. Now this can take a little bit of time. Okay, as we can see, everything's now copied into that MAME's ROM folder. Just make sure that you've connected a controller for this before we boot up MAME. So I'm using a Google Stadia controller for this, but most controllers will work with MAME. So I've got this plugged in, and we're going to go to mame.exe to open. Okay, so this is MAME, and it looks a little bit confusing for some people. There's lots of options, but the basics of it are very easy. The first thing to do once we're inside MAME, and just to make sure that our controller is actually connected and that it's reading it, is just use your mouse, go to General Settings, double left click. From here, we're going to go to Input Devices, and as we can see just here, under joystick, 6-axis, 18-button gamepad with hat switch. So this is my Google Stadia controller. If we go to Return to Previous menu, next thing we're going to do is go to Input Assignments, and I'm going to go to Player 1 Controls, double left click, and from here it's just a case of double left clicking on each one of these, and we're going to map it out with the controller. So P1 up, I'm going to double left click on P1 up, and then use my D-pad on my Google Stadia controller, and there it is. It's now been mapped to my Google Stadia controller, and the same for down, and so on. So as you can see, there's a lot of buttons we can map out. It's entirely up to you how many of these you do. I can even configure my analog sticks if I wanted to. If we just scroll down, We're also going to need to press on player 1 start. So for this, I'm going to use my Google Stadia equivalent of start button, and same for select. And I'm also going to go to P1 button 1 and also give this a button as well. So I'm going to use the A button on my Stadia controller for this. So yeah, lots of buttons here to configure. So we got the basics done. Now in input assignments, and I'm pressing escape to come back out that menu. If we go to other controls, and from here in coin 1, I'm going to map this out to my left trigger on my controller. And for 1 player start, I'm going to use my right bumper trigger. And there we go. So lots of different functions here if you want to map some of these out on your controller. Return to previous menu then. And just make sure you save settings. So what I'm going to do is press escape on my keyboard and we're going to boot up a game. So randomly just select 96 Flag Rally. And to exit out of that, I'm just pressing escape. Okay, so something else to look at under general settings is video options. If you go in video options, you can change triple buffering to on if you wish. We also got bilinear filtering, which is on in my case. If you don't fancy bilinear filtering, and that means blurring the image slightly so it's not pixelated, just turn that on if you want to blur your games a slight. I'm going to keep this off for now. We also got window mode, and we can turn this on or off. Enforce aspect ratio, so toggle between enforce aspect ratio, whichever works best for you. Something else to look at here is also vertical sync, so again on and off, and let's just remember that vertical sync reduces screen tear just like it says. So return to previous menu, and once you're happy with your video settings, always remember again to save your settings. Under input device options, for games like Alien the Gun or Terminator 2 the arcades game, then those games are going to require a light gun, but you can actually emulate that light gun by using your mouse, and your settings for that is under this menu just here. But like I say, just remember to always save what you're doing. Because I've allowed a window mode, we now got a window mode. If I go back to general settings, video options, I'm going to put window mode back to off and return to previous menu. Save settings, and we're back into full screen again. So that's how you do window mode and full screen within MAME. Personally, I think full screen mode looks good. So next thing we need to look at is different displays for your games. So you've got vertical games such as the 1942, 1943 games. So the easiest way to find out what's working and what's not within MAME with this particular ROM set is if I just left click on working. This is going to highlight all the games which work. So what I'm going to do is open up a vertical game, and I'm going to show you how to set video display options for vertical and horizontal games. So Counter Attack 1941, double left click. And here we go. So you're going to notice some artwork around this. So this doesn't come as standard with MAME. I've added this myself, and I'm going to show you how to do this in a minute. So in order to change your video settings for vertical display games and horizontal, all I'm going to do is just open up my settings whilst I'm in game by pressing tab button. And from here I can go down to video options and change screens. We've also got dip switches under this menu too, so we can change difficulty level, so we can put it to easiest, all the way up to normal and hard, etc. We've also got other options here, such as throttle game speed and flip screen. So there's lots to check out just by pressing on your tab button. From here, we can also disable demo sounds. And we could also select game mode, so just a tester mode. And we've also got the ability here to allow continues in your games, which is pretty interesting. And again, just go to return previous menu. And we also got system information. So it's going to tell you just here what this particular game was running on at the time when it was programmed. So CPU, Motorola, Zilog Z80, which was a very popular CPU around the time of this. The ZX80, obviously. And I'm pretty sure the Sinclair ZX Spectrum and the Amstrad CPC actually had a Zilog Z80 processor in them too. Next thing I'm going to do is show you how to add some artwork. So I'm not going to go too in depth with this, but I'm going to just show you the basics as you've seen a minute ago. I actually had some artwork on screen with that game. So if I close out of MAME, within your MAME folder, you're going to find an artwork folder. So to add artwork, all you need to do is just go into your artwork folder, which you'll find in MAME, and then just pretty much drag and drop your files inside of this folder. In Mr. Do's Arcade, it's going to be linked in my description, but this is the place where you can actually download your artwork and you can find out a bit more information here, how to actually make it look a lot better than just merely a couple of posters on the side of your games. So that's it for today's MAME setup guide. Like I say at the start, it's a very basic setup guide to get you up and running. Most of my setup guides are pretty in-depth, but I thought let's have a change. Let's actually give you a break for once. If you're interested in MAME, I also uploaded a MAME UI setup guide a little while back, and I'll leave that in my description, and I'll also pin it as well, so you can check that one out too. But if you liked today's video, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content. Also join me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok, and I'm always asking for donations just to improve my channel's content. So £1 or $1, anything helps, and I'm always eternally grateful for whatever you donate. But anyways, until next time, stay retro.